Hello and welcome to Founders Amplified, where we spotlight underrepresented founders who are driving innovation and impact across various industries and sectors across the globe. I'm your host, Narayan Kulkarni, and I'm excited to be here with you today. Today's guest is Yesica Méndez. Yesica Méndez has over 2 decades of experience driving innovation and success in the healthcare sector. She excels at creating and leading high-performance teams with a strong collaborative spirit and a deep commitment to diversity and excellence. She is recognized for her expertise in finance, operations, and general management of clinics, with a strong track record in the field of fertility and assisted reproduction. Her strategic approach is grounded in the principles of Patient 5.0 and Clinics 5.0, harnessing advanced technologies to enhance the patient experience and optimize the management of medical institutions, while fostering a culture of high performance and organizational well-being. As an expert entrepreneur in startups and a pioneer in the femtech market, Yesica was selected from over 500 candidates to join the Singularity U Chapter Buenos Aires with the mission of transforming the future of women's health in Latin America. So, now that you know a little bit about Yesica, let's dive into the conversation. Welcome to Founders Amplified, Yesica. It's great to have you with us today. How are you doing?
Well, I'm great. Thank you for having me here, Narayan. I'm so happy to having this conversation with you, and so I'm great. How are you?
I'm also doing well. I am very happy to be here as well. It's a wonderful day, and I'm excited to have this conversation and learn about some of your perspectives. So let's start with this first question. Can you tell me a little bit more about your journey as a founder? Specifically, were there any particular decisions or experiences that led you to want to become a founder?
Sure. Well, it started 2 years ago. I attended the inaugural MedFemtech Congress in Paris in 2023, and because I was going to, I went there to bring some tools and the last innovations in the fertility space where I came from. So, and at that moment, like everything clicked because I saw a global movement that I didn't realize that was being held in the world, and what was happening with women's health globally. So, and nothing was being done here in Latin America. So at the same time, at that Congress, they were recommending a book that I bought. It's Invisible Women, that I recommend everyone to read it. And well, there is an explanation globally, including healthcare, about a gender gap in that book. And well, that was something that at the same moment I was in a professional stage where I felt that I need to reinvent myself. So the intersection of those things made me become a founder of Femtech Latam.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing. Can you tell me more about how your identity, your story, your personal and experiences, as well as your professional experiences, how have they given you a unique perspective that have allowed you to bring a unique angle into what you do at Femtech Latam?
Sure. Well, I believe being a Latin America woman, that I have been working for over 2 decades in healthcare and technology in the fertility space mainly. So I'm also like a certified neurocoach, and I hold an MBA. So that approach, I think, that make me have a unique perspective, but mainly being a Latin America and understand the needs in the region that are quite different from Europe or from the US. We in the region we have undeveloped countries or developing countries, so the necessities may differ a bit. We have more poverty, and that complicates the access to, for example, apps that can improve some women issues, with the related to healthcare, of course. I think that.
Thank you for sharing. And given that you are working in a Latin American context, and also given that you have created Femtech Latam, what are some ways in which Femtech Latam is helping or innovating in this space in a way that might be thought of as unique or unusual among others in Femtech in Latam or Femtech globally?
Yes, well, we are not just supporting startups, we are like building an entire ecosystem. So we are working on an accelerating program. We are also having conversations with sponsors. Investors are key here. And we are going to universities in order to raise awareness, because here we are not having this conversation about femtech in terms of what's happening with women's health globally. So the lack of investment in the region and in the world. So we have so much to do that we are starting from that things, going to universities and being, for example, being able to have a lecture explaining in subjects like digital healthcare, what is happening and why it's important to invest. There is a like proof that it's a smart thing to do. Not only it's meaningful, it has a GDP for the countries when you invest in women's health, and also for companies, because it's like a return on investment. Like it's a moral imperative, but also has a huge impact. This term profit for good, and Femtech is there to bridge that gap with smart solutions, innovative solutions in all the verticals that have Femtech, like menopause, menstrual health, maternal care, and many others.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing. What you shared resonates on a number of different levels for me because I can tell you, I have mentored startups all around the world. I have connected with different players. And to your point, it's very important and a lot of hard work to develop an ecosystem that really allows a space to thrive. The second thing is I have started my career as a health administrator, and I have that experience. And so your point about education, specifically on really important sectors like femtech, is really important for students because and to raise that awareness, because yes, it's important to have industry innovation, but sharing that with students who are coming into the space is extremely important. And the third thing is, yes, femtech, and I appreciate you talked a little bit about this, is an extremely important need. It is on morally, economically, in terms of like technological innovation in so many different ways. And also, of course, it's a big need. For example, where I live in the US, there are many places where women's health is underserved. And I know this also because I have family parents who have worked in OB-GYN and relatives and friends who have worked in the space, and they have talked about some of the challenges. And there is, of course, a need for staffing, but a need for innovative solutions as well. And so I appreciate your context and perspective on that. But one thing which I wanted to dive deeper into and this goes to kind of how I learned about your work in the first place. So I came across a very exciting ecosystem map that you all had put forward about the femtech space. in Latin America, which was, I think, one of, if not the first, that was done
Yes.
for femtech. And I'm curious if you could tell me and the audience a little bit more about the process that went behind that and some of the unique things that you learned about femtech in Latin America from creating that map and the ecosystem at present.
Sure. Well, it was like a hard work, but it's so nice to have the map, the landscape, and we could find almost 70 startups. We can see that the country who is leading is Brazil, then is Argentina. So there are hubs of innovation that are taking this issue seriously, and I'm glad to know that. So to realize that is happening. And regarding the landscape, I can also tell you that most of the founders are women, like 65%. Then like 25% are mixed founders, the founder and co-founders, and then the rest is being founded by men. And well, we are it was like funny because when we post the map, some others startups came across and say, hey, you forgot about me, I am in Uruguay, for example, or Chile. So we are including them, and we are inviting people to tag those startups that we couldn't find at that moment, because information here is not so crystal clear in the region. You have to dive, deep in order to search and find those startups. But well, that was the work that we did. I can tell you a lot of things about the landscape, and it's having impact. And people like even Ida Teen, the mother of the term femtech, she reposted and congratulate us about the work that has been done for Latin America.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing. Two things that I appreciate you especially shared were that it sounds like it started a conversation and it started engagement of whether it was startups within the region saying, hey, I like to be included, or people like Ida Tin or people who are outside of Latin America sharing and congratulating and recognizing
Yes.
this is an important need. The other thing which you shared, and I would like to dive a little bit deeper into this, is I appreciate that you shared statistics on the founder composition by gender of femtech startups, like whether they're all women, all men, or mixed. Can you tell us a little bit more about the need and why it's important for there to be all women or mixed founded startups, especially in a Latin American context? Given that historically, unfortunately, there has been many venture-backed startups in the femtech space have been, unfortunately, not had enough gender representation. So can you tell us more about why it's important to have all women or at minimum mixed teams, and especially in a Latin American context?
Sure. It is important because there are many bias around femtech, because investors need to understand some of the solutions, and it has been proved that women are, when they have to pitch in front of investors, they have like hard time to get funding. So it is important because women are the ones who understands the problems in terms of healthcare, menstrual, like all the things that happening around the pregnancy, the fertility, even though that sometimes the treatment is shared by couples. The women are the ones that prepare themselves with hormones and and men don't understand those issues, and we are the 50% of the population. So that's why it's important to have mixed gender teams around startups. because it's hard to sell a solution for women if the team is completely held by men, you know? And in Latin America specifically, I think we share the same needs in this topic that around the world. Um, that that's why it's important. And like there are so many other solutions that are being invested that maybe impact 2% and of the population, and this is something huge. And that's what I believe about these mixed gender teams in startups.
Thank you for sharing. Within I would love to know a little bit more about some of the insights you gained from doing the map that and your understanding of the ecosystem. What are some major aspects of femtech or women's health that are where innovation is occurring that you're very excited about? I'm sure there are many, but could you highlight a few that come to mind?
Sure. There are some because verticals, for example, the menstrual health, there are many solutions for that in Latin America, but we need more solutions in, for example, in oncology diseases for women's health. There are a few startups that are like dealing or yes, approaching to this vertical, and also, for example, in terms of lactancy, there is one app that I could came across, and we need more solutions in the fertility space also. And I was happy to find that there are more solutions for the mental health. And there are being more startups in the region that are like dealing, addressing the mental health care for women's health specifically. And what else? Well, longevity is something that is increasing. That stage in life is also different from women than men, because even though there is a proof that women live like 10 years more than men, approximately, those years are in poor health conditions. So that is something that I constantly read, and sometimes people play jokes around that women live longer. So, but those extra years are in poor healthcare conditions. So that is something, and I'm also happy to find that menopause is something that it's being addressed too, in order to, yes, to make at that stage in life, because women like have a decrease in the performance at work at the same moment that when they have just have a kid. So there are some solutions that help them or us at that moment or stage in life. And well, that's what I could find about the landscape.
Thank you for sharing. Um, Something which you talked about earlier, which I'd like to also share a little bit more, learn a little bit more about, is, of course, when one is trying to implement any solution, and I've particularly seen this when it comes to digital health solutions in a healthcare context, it's really important to understand the environment in which one is implementing it and making sure that it is sensitive to the particular context and that there are particular stakeholders. So, in your view and in your perspective, how how should femtech solutions, or how have you seen femtech solutions been implemented in a way that is sensitive to and like best aligned with the context, cultural context, the socioeconomic context, other like aspects of the unique environment in Latin America?
Well, the access to the solution is important here in the region. Femtech is uh, there are a lot of solutions that are apps, software apps, but not all the women. For example, when you think of the Amazon in Brazil, not all the women have access to a smartphone. So a solution that moved me, it's a lady that invested like a cool helmet in order to, because it's not only about health but also well-being, the femtech solutions. It's like a cool helmet, but it's so easy and cheap to do at home, in order for women that uh, need to go under chemotherapy. They won't lose their hair. So the solution is called Quimio con Pelo. I know the founder. It's an Argentine woman, and it's something that make women have at that moment in life so hard, like having a, I don't know, yes, feeling better, because one of the most like fears is that, like, what happens with the hair. So that is something that I consider is accessible, and here having cheap solutions it's important for the countries in the region. And well, to name one.
Thank you for sharing. And I appreciate hearing the some this example and examples of what you shared. Now, it sounds like you've been doing lots of ecosystem building conversations, developing many different initiatives in the context of Femtech Latam. But let's fast forward, let's say 5 or 10 years into the future. What are you seeing then? What impacts are you seeing that are positive that tell you that what you're doing with Femtech Latam is working?
Okay, well, in 5 years, I see Femtech Latam that is no longer like being left behind when it comes to innovation in women's health, for example. I imagine that this is something that we haven't talked. Public policies like are like being public health policies that are decided when femtech can like give the governments, for example, the data that they need to address and wholly integrate the femtech with the health system in each country. I see more women as investors. I see there will be a decrease in taboo, because nowadays taboo is something that in some of the verticals is still in the table. And I also see like this women's health is being prioritized, but all the stakeholders, like as I mentioned, governments, hospitals, universities, investors, sponsors, partners, sorry. And well, that's what I imagine here in 5 or 10 years.
Wow, I appreciate that very bold and very needed vision of what it could look like in 5 to 10 years. But now looking back and retrospectively, at with all of the things that you have done and all of the progress that you have made so far with Femtech Latam, you're obviously like I'm sure you've learned many different things about the space, about being a founder, now relative to when you had started. So what's one thing you would tell previous Yesica about the Femtech space? And what's one thing you would tell previous Yesica about the process of building a unique venture that you wish you had known at that time?
Okay. Well, I would tell myself that there is there are many people out there willing to help entrepreneurs, and that there is no need to be afraid of. That is something that really shocked me at the beginning, because when you have a project, especially with social impact, there are many like volunteers or people that are interested in generously helping. And that is something that I would tell myself. Do not be afraid to knock doors, and having virtual or coffees or real coffees with people that you will find the help you need. And that's, I think, is the main point in all this when I look backward.
And what is one thing you now know about the femtech space in Latin America that you wish you had known beforehand?
What is something? Let me think. Because nothing was being done in the region when about femtech. Many people even do not know what it is or what it was. So maybe that we could be as a region, that we could accelerate this movement and even being at the same scale of other regions like Asia or Europe or the US, that we could achieve that. That is one thing I believe it's important that Yesica knows at the beginning.
Thank you, Yesica. How can people find you, and how can people support your work?
Well, you can find us in our website, femtechlatam.com. You can also find us in our LinkedIn page, a company page, which is also Femtech Latam. We are also on Instagram as Femtech Latam, and you can send me an email. It's jessica@femtechlatam.com. And well, we are actively looking for sponsors that support our mission to accelerate this women's health innovation in the region. So we invite you and to be part of this movement. That is a smart thing to do, as I said at the beginning.
Thank you, Yesica. And to our audience, you will see some of this information that Yesica shared in the show notes. Now for our signature question, can you please fill in the blank? I amplify
Women's health innovation in Latin America.
Wow. Wow.
That's
Thank you so much for your answer and for sharing your incredible insights with us today, Yesica. It was very exciting to hear the innovative work that you're doing with Femtech Latam and the positive impacts that enables in the world. And I just want to pause and reflect on the conversations we've had, the insights you've shared. And I want to celebrate you for being a leader and an inspiration to people who are underrepresented both in Latin America and globally. I also want to personally thank you for, you have shown a lot of kindness and richness of perspective in our conversation and in our previous conversations. I appreciate your vision, your courage, and your willingness to build in a very meaningful space at an ecosystem level and be a leading change maker and bring that in a way that unlocks multidimensional value that is much needed in our world. So thank you.
Well, Narayan, thank you so much. I feel flattered and honored to be here with you, having this conversation. And thank you for helping us to, getting more and more people, whether they are investors, advocates. We need this community to grow. And I felt so comfortable talking to you now and before. So thank you so much. It was a great experience.
You're welcome. And again, thank you one more time for our conversation. I look forward to staying in touch, but bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
To our listeners, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Founders Amplified. I hope you're feeling as inspired as I am. If you'd like to learn more about our guest and support them, check out the show notes for their details. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a rating, share it with someone you know, and follow us for more inspiring episodes like this one. If you're a founder who is driving innovation and impact in any industry or sector anywhere in the world and would like to be a guest, we'd love to hear from you. Check out the show notes for more information. And finally, remember that you, yes, you, have the power to amplify the voices around you. Whether you're a colleague, family member, friend, funder, mentor, or just another fellow human, your support matters. So I invite you to celebrate and uplift the underrepresented innovators in your life who are driving innovation and impact. Let's create a better future for everyone, together. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep amplifying.